Hey, what is up everybody, Blaze for here, and today for you guys another video of Persona 5X. Now inside this video guys, we're going to be talking about the ancient text of just everything that we keep going over. Is this game free to play, pay to win, or a mix of both? Now this technically, just as a disclaimer, has nothing to do with you guys, pretty much as in what you voted earlier. That's nothing to do with this. This is actually only due to a different post that was on my man Loda's video, and I decided to get some clarity about this because the guy who posted it seemed a little bit muddled on what he was thinking about, and it definitely wasn't not fully all the way thought about, and in a very interesting way it definitely struck me the wrong way because I had to at least explain very clearly how this game is not pay to win. Now TLDR for this video, just straight up being honest, the game is a good mixture. It's not pay to win. It actually leans more to the free to play side. There's plenty of things that you're able to skip. There's plenty of like weapons you're able to skip, such and such like that. Boom. For those who don't want to stick around, there you go. Now for those who do want to stick around and want a longer description of this, I'm going to break this video down into a few parts. One, the part of how much currency do we just get in general? Like, is the currency enough? Is it not enough? Things like that nature. And this is going to include free to play side of things and so-called pay to win side of things, which I'm only going to include just a welcome for that. I'm not going to give you any other outs on this. Now that's just one part. The second part of how we're going to do this is going to go down to the banners. Are the banners able to be skipped? Are units actually able to be skippable? Are the weapons able to be skippable? Stuff like that. And then the third thing is the term power creeping. All right, that's going to get muddled. It's going to be very interesting. I use the term as well, but some people just apparently cannot put two to two together to actually come up with an actual solution. So we're going to actually break that down as well. Then at the end of the video, I'll give you guys my overall thoughts. Is the game pay to win or is it not? I'm just going to give you straight up here right now. It's not. But anyways, moving on. I'm going with the first thought process of this game is the currency side of things. For currency, we actually have it good compared to most other games. Most other games, like let's say Star Rail, they have their basic standard banner, they have their weapon banner, they have of course their regular character banner, but with that in mind, there's also other things that you really want to get. Or like, for example, we have other games that have a multitude of ways. Heck, we have ZZZ with character banner, Bang Boo banner, regular standard banner, actual freaking weapon banner. That's 4 or 5 different things, options right there. So off rip, we already have a good situation going here, seeing we only have 2 banners that we have to summon on. There's not 2 character banners and a weapon banner or 2 weapon banners and junk like that. No, there's only just 2 banners currently because the game has still came out fresh. This is really easy to, of course, sit back and actually figure out what you want to do. So we have the character pools, we have the weapon pools and standard pools. And if you are using gems on standard pools, I don't know what to tell you. You're doing something wrong unless you're freaking wailing, and even then you're still doing something wrong. But I digress from that. We're not even gonna notice this, but we still have these only 2 banners. With these 2 banners in mind, they only require the 2 currencies, all in all, which go back to the crystal pellets. Now these can be obtained in a multitude of ways. Let's go ahead and take a look of just the standard old, just don't even have the battle pass type deal, right? Every day you're getting 4 of these completed. Each one of these missions give you 20, breaking this down into 80 every day. So if we're taking this account, if every day we get 80, and let's just average out each month is going to be so-called 30 days. Now I know of course some months have 28, okay, I get that. But let's just average out all the months having 30 days, right? If we get 80 and we actually take that and we times that by 30 days, right? We get 2,400 gems. Now that may not sound like much. That's only a multi and some change, right? Seeing a multi is 1,500. Well, if you decide this and you only go for the weapon banner, that's 2 multis. That may not sound like much as well, right? But that is from just logging in and doing 4 of these missions. It doesn't matter which ones, just 4 of these missions every day. You're getting yourself at least a multi or 2 multis depending on what you're summoning on. Now, alongside with that, right, we have a plethora of stinking things that we can actually choose from to actually get a ton of actual currency, such as events. These events that can actually rotate you, or at least get different things out of here. You can get pools out of here, you can get gems out of here. You're able to even get more than that and get actual pools from the grand prizes plus more in general, and actually get a ton more stuff. Now that's just keeping that in mind, not including the other game modes and things that we have. We have Heart Rail, which some people still haven't done, and which they're still adding on to, by the way, so keep that in mind. But we have Heart Rail. We're managing to get, of course, the basic amount of just what we have right now with story, which is 2 palaces, all of mementos, and then we have Velvet Room. This gives you a ton of materials that even I don't have. We get at least 1 multi out of one of these each time. In general, yes, it may be finite, but in general, you're able to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 multis out of this, plus some change, probably 7 multis in total, right? Seeing that we're able to get at least around 7,800 out of here. That's not including the weekly that you're able to get, of course, just by ranking in this. And you don't even have to rank high, you just got to finish the whole thing. You're able to get yourself 500 more gems, and this happens every end of the week or 2. I think it's like 2 weeks or so that this lasts, and you're able to get that. Not including, hold on, I'm not done just yet, we also have Guild Boss. Now Guild Boss, which if I'm lacking today, but Guild Boss, let's round this up to 100, right? That's technically 400 you're able to get right there just by doing your Guild Boss. Shall I go on? These things all happen, and they actually give you a ton of gems in general if you are in need of gems. And even when they have side quests or main quests, you're getting gems for those, and the side quests actually happen pretty often, especially when you're going up levels. All of this in account of just what you're able to get on a daily basis gives you more than enough gems. And I didn't even take into account if you haven't finished this book, or if you have finished this book, you still get a ton of gems all the time, and you're able to have more than enough time to summon up. If you are that down bad, you're able to do some of these quests or some of our activity points and just hardcore focus on the ones that give you 20 gems and stack up those if you are that down bad. But even then, it's not really too all necessary. But you guys get what I'm saying. There's tons of ways to get gems. Gems are not a problem in this game, and getting pools in general is not an issue whatsoever. Most people who are saying that have not done the calculations. They have not sat here and actually tried to min-max it, and that is why they are missing out on a lot of gems. Now let's take into account if you have the Welkin. You're able to get yourself some stamina. You're also able to get yourself a lovely amount. Wait, no, that's not the stinking Welkin here. Let's say you're getting the Welkin, which is 180, right? You're able to get yourself some stamina. You're able to get yourself some gems and stuff like that. And actually, I think that the other one might have been the freaking Welkin. I'm over here tripping, right? But there's ways of doing this. You're able to get yourself a ton off of this. You get 100 every day for 30 days, every time at 5 p.m. So if we already stack upon, we're getting 80 every day, right? We get 100 for 30 days. That's 3K plus the I think it was 2.4 I think we had earlier. I think it was 2.4. Yeah, 2.4K. So this is only $5 if you manage to do it. That's 5.4K minus that by 1,500. Even then, that is around, let's see, yeah, that's about 3 multis. And if you actually are doing the weapon banner, that is 5 multis just from logging in. So the whole concept of the game is ultra pay to win is absolutely just baloney. It doesn't exist. So let's just get that out of the way. So first part of the video, rant's done. That's the view on it. You guys don't like it, bite me, I don't care. But now going to the second part of the video, this is going to go more into which banners were skips, which banners are all the banners needed. They feel like they're meta characters, they are must-haves. Okay, first things first about this game. The 4-stars are immaculate. They're freaking great. We have 4-stars that are really competing up here with some of the 5-stars. Heck, one of our 4-star navies, aka Puppet, is quite literally one of the best goddamn navigators in the entire game because of the crap that she does. Shall I go on with this? Yes, I shall. So with that in mind, that's automatically out of the way. But if we want to talk about characters who are must summons, such as like limiteds and stuff like that, right? Taking in mind the limiteds, if I'm being totally honest with you, most people, if it was Joker, you got one copy, you dipped out. That wasn't even the mandatory banner, but of course it's the beginning of the game. Getting him once was a good choice. You can dip out. His weapons is very much so flawed, but I'll get into that later in the video. But it was still nice to get. Boom, cool. Then you could have just left, right? The next banner afterwards was Yui. This character was a must-have. The reason being, well, technically not must-have, but yeah, must-have because first 5-star electric DPS that also had a single target that was freaking absolutely busted with the follow-up. This character in general was a free-to-play character. With her, you don't need the weapons. I made a mistake and said that yesterday. Definitely didn't need the weapons. The weapons just make it so you can stack more crit damage, to be honest. But in general, you don't need the weapons. You can run with a 4-star weapon. She doesn't need dupes. If you have dupes, technically you only need the first dupe. That's about it. So she was really free to play. You can literally just snag one, get up out of there. Now it's the beginning of the game, so everyone should be able to get her at least once, unless of course something absolutely horrendous happened, which even then you probably still got something decent. You didn't really need her. She's all right, because at the end of the day, we still have another DPS that's a 4-star that isn't absolutely horrendous. Sure, she has her flaws. Sure, she's a little bit of a glass cannon, but she got the job done. So at the end of the day, this could have been a little bit of a skip depending on how you viewed it. But the next character after that, Minami. Minami was a skip. You did not need to get her. She was literally going to the standard banner, guys. To the standard banner. As many of us know, we then proceeded to get other crap later on that gave us more multis, general, and also allowed us to get a duplicate. So if you managed to pull this character, which was the main thing that you wanted to do, if you did pull this character off the standard banner, you can then get the duplicate for the A1, which is the thing that makes her even more busted. The only thing for this character that was actually a must was the weapon. The weapon makes a huge difference in her, at least her character, but technically you don't even freaking need that because the character's busted enough to just keep you there and utterly makes it worth it, right? This character, without a doubt in my mind, was a skip. She's amazing, don't get it twisted, but seeing that she was going to the standard banner, a lot of you guys could have been able to skip. So there you go, there's one skip right there. It gives you time to at least get this. Now in between this time, we also had 2 other skip banners, which was a Rin and a Riddle banner. Those were both skip banners. You had time to, of course, go ahead and save. With this in mind, we knew Yusuke was coming, and at this point, we were perfectly fine. Or either Yusuke came out before then, and then the 2 skip banners. You guys get what I mean. But at the end of the day, if Yusuke came out first, you got Yusuke, you didn't need the weapon. The weapon was absolutely cracked, yes, but using the 4-star weapon, let's say I hit 170, 180, which does happen with my Yusuke at times on a 5-star with his 5-star weapon, right? 180 on 3 to 4 enemies, right? If I use the 4-star weapon, he still can hit 150, 140. Yes, there is a 40k, 30k difference, but that 40k, 30k difference don't mean jack when you're still able to one-tap majority of the field or get them all lower. It doesn't change all too much. I actually ended up doing a video showing you guys the damage difference with both, and it even wasn't, heck, I may be over exaggerating a little bit. I think it was less than that for the damage difference, getting the exact same crits on the exact same mobs with the exact same team. It was even a less damage difference. So this whole assumption of, oh, all the limited characters got to get their limited weapon is automatically ruled out and wrong, because his weapon is not really needed. His 4-star is way more than enough. Now, I digress. Going into the next thing, we already had our 2 skip banners. Makoto drop. Any person who did not get Makoto, right? If we're being dead honest, there's two things that happen. You had horrendous luck, which does happen. I'm not gonna say you're just bad for that. That does happen. But we have plenty of events that was able to be gotten. Any person who either did not get hurt was summoning for weapons and ran out of just gems in general from either not doing anything / summoning for said weapons instead of saving for the character. Before pulling any weapon, you should always pull the character, because at least when you pull the character, you have an option of when you're pulling for the weapon, you're able to get a 4-star. I'm one of those people. I pulled for her, got her, didn't have enough to get the 5-star. Heck, I lost my 5-star 50/50, and even now, she's still able to hit freaking crazy. I think she hit like 70k like out of her awaken just field in general with a 4-star weapon. Remember, a 4-star weapon hit 70k, 80k out of her awakened state. Now, my girl is not done by any means. She is 81%. My attack isn't high, my damage bonus is really freaking low, and she's able to hit like 70 to 80k. The lowest I've seen her hit was 65 to 80k. Right? This character in general, you don't need her weapon. Was her weapon really good to get? Heck yeah, elevated the gameplay, but you do not need it. It is not a must weapon. You don't have to get this. The character itself was a must summon, and the main reason for this is because if you go ahead and look at the actual characters that are out, which all of us knew this, we were missing a DPS for nukes. Unlike most of the other characters where we have Frost, right? He wasn't the first DPS, so technically if you wanted to get really technical, you could have skipped him, seeing Mont, even though she's not the best, she still was a good character. She did pretty okay damage, and you could have stuck with that. Or for example, Yui, she's a cracked character, but you could also still stick with Stinking Lightning, seeing we do have a DPS. Unlike with Joker, where he was pretty much a must summon because he was the only cursed DPS. Because let's be honest, who in their right mind are using Sepia? But I digress. There are things that go around this. There are characters that are able to be skipped. There are things that are able to be skipped. So the whole thing of using the game's not free to play because there's so many characters like this is not a good valid point. There are many ways that you're able to skip it. Heck, even with the newest character being Phoebe, this is a character that is utterly busted. But guess who literally does what she does, just a little bit weaker, or a lot weaker, but still gets the job done? Well, if we're going ahead and looking at it, Okyan does, and she's a 4-star that you can immediately dupe up and actually deal really good damage by buffing your team. She's pretty much a budget Stinking Phoebe that still does pretty darn well. There is no need to get this character unless you are really chasing metas. That is the only time where you guys out here should be chasing metas or should be thinking of it in this way. As you guys can probably tell, I'm very aggravated by this a little bit, so understand where I'm coming from here. But I'm just gonna cut that off right there. There's characters to be skipped. That whole thing is just not gonna fly here. Now, lastly, coming to the power crept term. The only character that we're gonna really use this with is gonna be going with Joker, because some people are just saying, well, Joker's just trash in general, right? He is not trash, right? He did get power crept in the DPS scene compared to other DPSs. Yes, he did get power crept. That's bound to happen in any gacha, and the main reasoning for this as well is because his weapon's a little flawed. His weapon was not handled in the right way, and by the gods, hopefully the buffs actually help him out a decent bit. Now, with this character, is he bad by any means? Heck no. There's just other characters who of course deal better, because as time goes on in all gachas, DPSs are going to become better. They're not meant to follow their canon strength. That was another thing the person said, was the character feels way too weak compared to how he should feel in P5. I'm sorry, I hate to burst your bubble, but that's not how gachas work, and that's not how they get their money. If we just straight up did that and we were going off of this, Wonder would be straight up clapping every last character in this whole like the whole category. Him and Joker would be no contestants. Joker would literally be the god embodiment inside of the Persona verse right now. Don't even get me started on P3 and P4. Like, that is a whole different realm that I'm not even gonna tread into right now. But with that in mind, they're not meant to follow their canon parts here. That's not how the game works. With this in mind, the character is not power crept. In his own aspect versus other DPSs, sure, but in his elements, I have to actually divide this into elements, he's far from power crept because there are no other cursed DPSs that can pull off his numbers. For example, Curse, she is a curse debuffer, not gonna work. For example, let's go ahead, Sepia, he is a DPS, but let's be honest, who's using Sepia? It's only people who are using Sepia are the people who are diehard fans, and I love the man to death, but just to make him somewhat worth it, you not only need him fully duped, but you also need his weapon, and even then he's not going absolutely insane. So even there, it doesn't make sense to go with that whole point value of power creeping is a thing when we have obvious elements. Now obviously when we get another, I don't know, DPS curse character, yes, Joker's going to be power crept, but will you still be able to use him? Heck yeah, because he's not a bad unit. Let's say if we get another 5-star, that's a 5-star ice character. Yusuke is probably going to get power crept by a single target DPSer. Does that make him a bad AoE bad AoE DPS? No, he's still really good, but it does happen. It's just something that happens. But all in all, if we're gonna go around with this, I'm just gonna straight up do my final verdict. Is this game freaking free to play friendly, like pay to win, or just a mixture? It's a mixture. It's not pay to win. It leans heavily to the free to play side, but I'm not gonna get people's like whole panties in the bunch with this one. So it's really just a mixture, pretty decent, close to perfect, but does lean to the free to play side. But you guys let me know how you think down below in the comment section, and I'm gonna cool off because I'm heating on this, but peace out.